the top, I recommend cut the top first and then work on the side, because you want to cut the particular style and shape of the look, for the overall look on the top. But what happens if you wet the hair and then you go to fade it on the side? Well, the hair is wet, so then you got to dry it, right? Because you don't want to be cutting and fading it wet. If you're cutting and fading it wet, what happens? The hair sticks to the skin. If a person's sweating, same thing, hair sticks to the skin. So I want to eliminate the wetness. I'm going to focus on the cut afterwards on the top, because we're not going to change much. We're keeping this what it is. So I don't really have to cut any of that. Is there already a blend going into the top right here? Yeah, I don't think that this is bad at all. When I take a look at this, from here to here, it's pretty blend. Now, it's a little bit of weight right in here. Now, I can see that. I don't know if you can see that, but right here, I can see that the last cut he got, this looks good. It's really good right here. He's got a little bit of weight in here and a little bit of weight right here. So what I'm going to focus on is blending this into his top. I'm going to go with a high guard first. I'm going to take this 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rake the hair. When I say rake it, I'm using my teeth at a tilt like this. The cutting's happening here. It's not happening here. So I'm going straight up to see if any hair is going to fall in to that spot. If it doesn't, then I'm going to slowly tilt this, rake some more. But I'm following this shape. You follow me? So right here, here's a transition. When I'm raking the hair, I'm following this invisible line going up. This is the line in which, here's where the cutting's taking place. So what I'm aligning is where the moving blade and the comb for the transition are. They're going to be together, and I'm working my way up. There's no hair up here, but I'm exaggerating this movement so you guys can see what I'm doing, okay? I'm going to comb through that. If it's not enough, when you see me doing this, I'm doing the same thing. I'm following this imaginary line going up. I'm not going into the cut, because then I'll be cutting out of the shape of the cut. The shape of this cut is right here. So there should be no holes in between his scalp, the hair, and the comb. It should be transitioned. So all of this from here up is already pretty much blended in. I got to blend from here down in. You follow me? So I got my 3, and I'm just removing weight, going up, following the shape of the cut. Does anybody not understand what I'm doing right now? It's okay if you don't. Tell me so I can stop. We all good? Okay. Now that I've removed that little bit of weight with my 3 going up into here, I created this line with a 1.5. I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 on. I'm going to do the same exact method because I'm creating length with my clipper. Nothing's going to get cut. Here it is, it's starting to cut. That's where I told you there was a little bit of weight, but nothing else is getting cut. I'm going to slowly tilt this down and remove some more weight. I'm not stopping under the cut. And what I mean by that is I'm not taking this clipper up and stopping up under here with all that above it. Do you see that? I'm not doing it. I'm coming up and I'm coming off following this imaginary shape. So even though you see me stop, I'm not stopping underneath, I'm stopping outside. Does that make sense? I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So this is the exaggerated move. This is what it looks like while I'm cutting. Same thing. That's with the 2 open. It doesn't look like much has changed, but you all heard me cutting hair. You heard the hair being cut and falling off. So now it's still open. I flattened it out a little bit more, but I'm not going as high. Meaning I flattened the clipper to the head instead of having it pulled out at a 90 and raise it. I'm keeping it flat. And then once I hear cutting happen, I do what? I'm looking at you. What do?
You said once you hear cutting happen, you pull out.
I pull out. I pull away from it. So following the shape, while I was looking at you all, I was listening. I'm not afraid. because this is muscle memory. Okay? Go in, remove a little bit of that weight. Once I hear a little bit of cutting, I'm looking, I pull away, I take a look at it, make sure I'm not cutting too deep, and I pull away. That's with it open. Did the line kind of go away here and not here? Right? Now I'm going to go ahead and close it. I'm going to do the same exact thing and had to tilt them, starting all over again. This is with the 2. I did the 3 first close, and then I went to the 2 open, tilted at 90, and slowly worked my way down while it was open, making adjustments along the way. The reason that I cut like this is because the shape of his head is different than the shape of your head. And what I'm looking for is that sweet spot where it starts to cut the hair. As long as I stay within the shape of the cut, it doesn't matter which angle as long as I'm hitting my sweet spot for this particular haircut. We all good? All right. So I got to start all over. I'm open again with my 2. Just double checking because I don't know where I stopped. Right there, that looks good. Flatten it out a little bit more. That looks good. I'm all the way flat. Not much coming off that I don't want to cut any more up higher. I'm going to stay low. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to tilt this at a 90 again. Working right above that line. In order to remove a line, you have to cut above the line. We created the line because we were cutting below that hair and there was too much weight. That line is slowly going away because I'm cutting above the line and minimizing the weight. So as I'm minimizing the weight, this line will slowly disappear instead of me cutting below it. Because if I'm cutting below it, what happens? I start lifting the line up if I go too deep. So I want to remove the hair because this is already blend. I want to blend this to my 1.5. Started with a 3, now I'm at a 2. I'm closing my 2, holding it at a 90. It's doing what I want, slowly tilting it down. It's doing what I want, slowly tilting it down. Slowly tilting it down. Now it's all the way flat. Does the line look like it's disappearing? Now, what did we create that second line with? 1.5. Close. What am I do now? I'm going to open the 1.5 and I'll be right at that same spot. I'm going to also tilt it. I made a statement before I started. You can create efficiency with bad habits. What I mean is, you might be doing something wrong, but you get so good at doing something wrong that it looks good and you get by. You get better at it. You're like, wow, my bad habit, I'm getting through the haircut and it looks good. I will tell you that I personally believe that the majority of people who are doing tutorials on YouTube, and if you're actually listening to what they're saying, a lot of times they have no idea what they're doing. They're just sharing their POV. Is there anything wrong with their POV? No, because it's their point of view. But if they're trying to teach you technical, if they're trying to teach you what it is that's happening, the why behind it, a lot of times they don't know. I've been doing it this way so long and I've gotten away with it. And they got faster. So they've gotten efficient with bad habits. Doesn't mean that what they're doing is actually good. If I teach you good habits and you learn, it may be slower if you've already developed bad habits. Because you're like, man, I don't like your way. Because your way takes too long. My way's quicker. Yeah, you probably got bad habits and you're probably efficient with it. But if you take the challenge and try to do it a way that's better and more efficient, over time you become more efficient and then you minimize the time and then you're really, really quick. Was I on time for every one of my haircuts? Was I early for a lot of them? All of them. That's not always the case, but for the most part, I'm on time. You might be waiting a minute, maybe 2 minutes. It's not likely that you're waiting 5 minutes for me. I'm getting you in and out because I'm efficient. If I'm running behind, I know in the next haircut, I got to speed it up. I'm not going to change my technique. I'm not going to move faster. It's all about intentional cutting. It's because I know what I'm doing and I know how to get there quicker. That's it. There's no shortcuts. It's just I know what I'm doing. I'm being very intentional. So I'm teaching you to have intentionality in where you're placing the clipper. Not just go, if I give a 3-year-old this clipper and I say, do this, what do you think the kid's going to do? He's going to go like this and he's going to go like this. Because you all can do that. But is this purposeful? I had a guy that I was teaching, and he did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Because that's what he saw. He saw a lot of fast movement. He was just moving more with this one than this one. If you notice, I did more cutting and less combing. I don't want to waste my time combing. I want to get through the hair and cut it. So this is flat. This is flat open because I tilted it and I went flat. Now I'm going to slowly, 1 notch, go down. Same area. Looking at where my line was, 1 notch, go down. 1 notch, go down. And I'm doing this as I'm looking for these lines or these dark spots that are in there. So when you're looking at that middle line for the most part went away. Now it looks darker there. Let me just put this light here for a second and take a look at it. Now it looks a little bit better, okay? But what I see on here and what you're getting on the camera is just a little bit different, especially with me standing in that light. See it? Open this back up because I'm starting over. I don't know where I was at. I don't want to make any mistakes. 1 notch. 1 notch. I'm working at the transition. 1 notch. One notch. You see that middle line going away? Okay. I know I created this with the 1.5 open. So now I'm going to go to my 1. Because everything from the 1.5 to the top is blended in. Would you agree? I'm going to go with my 1, and I'm going to do the same exact method by tilting this. Oh, wait, here's a good example. Do you see these 2 lines of separation? What do you think that is? It's when I did this half open and I went like this. And then when I closed it and I went like this, that's where that separation is. So there is a separation, which helps with transition. Open this up. And I'm going to tilt it at a 90. And in order to remove the line, you got to do what? Cut above the line. So I'm cutting above the line. Now, Mark, can you hear any hair being cut?
No.
Okay. Tell me when you can.
Now.
Okay? So,
Now.
I'm tilting it now. You're good. Thank you. I'm tilting it until I hear that cut. Now it's all the way flat. That line is slowly getting lighter. What do you think I'm going to do next? 1 notch. Just move it a little bit. Yeah, just move it a little. Just move it a little bit. So if you don't have the notch system on your clipper, just move it a little bit. Just notch it a little bit until you find what works for you. If you don't and you're afraid, tilt it. That's going to make it longer until you find your spot. Okay? Great question. This one has a notch in it, so I'm going to do 1 notch at a time. Until I don't hear the haircut the way I want it to, and until it doesn't look like I want it to, and then I'm going to go to 1 more notch. We'll go 1 more notch. Is that line slowly going? Not this bottom one, but remember that second one I had in there? Is it slowly going away? Oh, it looks like Eric was over there zooming in. Did it zoom in while I was cutting? Yeah, that's Eric. Eric's in Florida. Eric, he's in Florida. Thanks, E. So anyway, now that this is happening, I'm going to go 1 more notch till it's completely gone. Now, that little second line that I had there, is it gone? Okay? All the way closed, flat as possible. Give it 1 pass, fill it out. It looks good. It's a little darker right here, so I'm going to open this up, go up just a little bit more, just to get that dark spot. Now, in order to remove this bottom line, what did we create the bottom line with? No guard, closed, flat. So I'm going to open this all the way up, no guard, and I'm going to tilt it 100%. I'm holding it at a 90. Well, I'm going to first cut it until it looks the way I want. I'm hearing the hair being cut, and then I'm going to slowly tilt it. Now it's tilted all the way flat. It's all the way flat now. Does that line look softer at the bottom? Okay. One notch. Yeah, always. So what Cameron's question was is every time I notch it down, do I go back to my 90? Yes. That is my go-to. That's my security blanket. That's my caution. I go to the next notch, and I tilt it first. If it's not doing what I want, then I slowly tilt it down, and I work my way down till it's flat. Next notch, same thing. I'm doing this so you guys can see, and it could be, so Jordan's question was, do I normally go the whole ways around the head, or do I just focus on one side of the head? As a beginning barber, if you're going to create a guide system like this, and I would recommend that this is what you do. When you're on the floor, whoever you're cutting, do it the length and then a guard and a half above. So in this case, we did the length close and then a guard and a half above. If you're doing a 1 open, do a guard and a half above, which would be a 2. Okay? That would be your go-to method because it gives you room to work in between. Instead of going step by step by step by step by step, we're doing step by step, but we're doing it in reverse. Okay? So now I got to start all over because I stopped, right? Open all the way. Flatten it out. 1 notch. Second notch. Third notch. I'm using my corner because his head is dipping. It has contour, has undulation. So open this back up because of that dip. I don't want to take the fade too high. But now, 1 notch down, another notch down, another notch down, another notch down. See how I stayed in that same area? I didn't jump around. All the way closed. How about that bottom line? Is that bottom line going? Do you see the fade? Let me put some light on this situation because it's a little, all right. Let's tilt your head real quick. Is that bottom line going? And I didn't even skin it yet. So we know that this is where the line was. Here's where most people then get scared. If you carve it out with the bald line first, it's going to be very difficult to remove it. I'm not going to go the whole ways to my line. I'm going to go right below it. So I'm going to take this edger, and then right below where my line was, I'm pulling his ear to make his skin taut right there, nice and tight, stretching the skin. And I'm not going the whole ways up to the line. No, so we got through all the transition. Now, he's got a little bit of weight right here. But does he have a bottom line? Does he have a middle line? Does it look weighted? No. He's got a dark spot here, a dark spot here, and a dark spot here. I can go back and blend those and fine tune those using my corners. But I want to show you how I got to the bottom line, and I worked from the top to the bottom. I did create a bottom guide. I did create a second guideline with a size and a half up, which gave me room to work with. Notice I didn't use a 1/16. I didn't put a half guard on. I just tilted it. I didn't need to put a half guard on to blend that out. So if I want to go back in to blend some of these dark spots, I'm going to go back to my 1.5. because that's about a finger length where I started that bottom line. So I know my measurement where I was at, and I'm just going to use my corners for this dark spot. His hair is going this way, so I want to cut it in the direction opposite of his hair stream. Now, the other thing that's happening as I get closer and closer is I'm also in the area of his eyebrow. If I keep cutting, I could cut his eyebrow off. I don't want to cut his eyebrow off, so I'm just going to tilt it. But I know that if I tilt it, what am I going to do with the blade? I'm going to make it longer. Whenever you're tilting your clipper, you're making it longer. Okay? So I'm going to go across this right here in the middle. Tilt that a little bit. See that slowly coming out? I'm going to go to my 1. Tilt it so I don't hit his eyebrow. Flatten it out a little bit. 1 notch. Yes, I have. Question was, did I ever cut somebody's eyebrow? Yes, I cut somebody. I was finished with a haircut, actually. Haircut was done, and the client was like, can you get this one little spot right here? And I went to line him up, and his hairline was too close, and with a T-blade, because it's wide, it was longer. And so when I went like this, I cut right in, and I cut the whole like section out of his eyebrow. I was really upset. It was the first time I cut this guy. He was a star athlete in town. And of course, I wanted to cut the star athletes because they're popular and then I'll get more clients. Well, it worked the opposite for me that time. I ended up jacking him up. Now, what you would do in a situation like that is you can actually pull the eyebrow and pull it down, and then you get that out the way.
No such thing as bad publicity, right?
Well, you know, it depends. So now we got a fade happening right here. And we can go back here and you can look that we have all this weight. We got bald spots in there because of scars. This guy looked like he was fighting as a kid or jumping out of trees and stuff. I don't know. They say boys will be boys, but I don't know what was going on. Yeah, you got scars, bro. You got battle wounds. So what do you think I'm going to do first? I'm going to go ahead and put my 3 on there. I'm going to raise this up, open, flatten it out because I could see that it wasn't cutting what I needed. I just went right to flattening it out. Now I'm going to close it. When I close it, do the same thing. I want you to see that my method doesn't change. So you can work give your guide the whole ways around. By doing that, you're going to create symmetry because you can mark it, you can take a look at it and see it's even on both sides. You set your second guide, you can see that it's going to be the same on both sides. For teaching purposes, to keep this person sat here the whole time so you can see what's happening, I didn't do that because I just wanted to focus on this. But to be quite honest with you, you can throw me in the middle of a cut anywhere and I'll be able to get through the haircut. Whether you start me in the back and then I work side to side, or I do this side, that side, and work in the back, over time you'll know because your method doesn't change. I'm not going to change my method. I'm not going to change my system. My system is still the same. I can do the same cut with no guards on this side and achieve the same exact result if I don't change the method, working from top, working my way to the inside, working my way to the bottom. It doesn't change as long as I know where those reference points on the head are. Okay? So go back to my 3. I started open again. Whenever I start over, I open it back up. That's my security blanket. We talking, got to pick up the phone, something's happening in the shop, hey, how you doing today? I'm reset. So I reset. So I'm at 3, I reset. Reset. I'm with my 3 open. I'm working my way down, flat, still open, but it's flat, closed. Tilted, flatten it out. I got what I want. Notice I'm not cutting up in here. I don't need to. I'm going to go ahead and go to my 2. I'm going to open this 2 up, tilt it. I'm resetting, going back to my method. Flatten it out. 2, closed. Flatten it out. See that transition from here to here is looking the same now. Okay? All I got to do is now blend this bottom out because the transition in between looks the same. Going to my 1.5, open. I have it flat here because I know I cut it flat here, but as I go over here where I didn't cut, I'm gonna tilt it open, flatten it out, open, close it the whole ways, tilt it, flatten it out. All right, now here's the big one. So here's what I want to do right now. Who wants to come and try it? Come on. I don't care. Come on up, Jordan. So here's what we're going to do, right? You're fine. I want you to stand here so I can watch what you're doing and you're not in the way, so that way we can still see what's happening. I put the 1 on. I want you to cut with the 1 tilted and then work your way down to the line. Okay? You need the cone. And you need to move to the, there you go.
Is that too tilted?
Nope, might not be tilted enough, but it's fine. You hear haircut?
Yeah.
Okay. If you need to bend, you can tilt his head. Okay? That keeps you upright. Keeps your posture good, because time out for a second. If you can't see that, what would you naturally do? You would slump down and you try to get in there and see it. His head's on a swivel. Tilt his head down so that you can see. Move your hands so they can see. It's hard up here, isn't it? Yeah, I know that's right. So you already did a tilt. Start over again. Reset. Tilt it high.
Is that like the normal tilt kind of?
Always, no, it's a little steeper than that. Yeah, it's more like this. It's easier to do that when his head's like this, though.
Yeah.
Okay? But if it's not cutting, then you'll slowly tilt it until it cuts. Nothing's happening? Slowly tilt it. You can hear it. Okay? Close it all the way.
All the way?
All the way. Full tilt.
Full tilt.
Now slowly tilt it. Now you're stopping underneath the line.
I'm getting scared when I hear it.
That's good. You're looking at it. Just don't stop underneath the line.
So it's cutting with this little tilt.
Correct. Now here's the deal. This bottom line was created with this close, so you still have room to cut. That's where most people are struggling. They're cutting right at, and you get scared. You hear that little, you're like, I don't want to cut too high. Yeah. If you mess it up, I'm a professional. I got this. Okay? Open it the whole ways. Let's start over. Tilt it. And remember, it's about a finger length. So you have about a finger length of wiggle room. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You're good. Keep going. Now, his soft movement right off the bat lets me know he's not confident.
No.
Okay?
Not at all.
The client in the chair can feel that. They can feel whether your movements are confident or not.
Cut that shit.
Okay? He don't care, bro. This guy's had some bad haircuts, so trust me, he don't care.
So should I be like more rough with him?
Not rough.
Push his head around?
Not. I mean, it's your head. It's not his. When they're sitting in the chair, it's your head.
All right.
You position the head where you need his head. This is what it is.
Okay.
No, and when you say rough, give me your hand. No, this way. So this is rough. He shouldn't feel your hand, your wrist, and your forearm in his head. He should only feel the weight of the clipper blade. Do you feel the clipper in my hand? You just feel the blade.
Yeah.
Okay? So he should only feel the blade movement. Okay? Go ahead.
So we're open again. Tilt
Yep.
Again.
Good. Not bad.
More confident.
It looks a little better. I'm looking at other stuff. So
Am I tilting it too much?
No, you're
Like,
fine.
Down too much?
flatten it the whole ways now. Good. Good. Now close it. There you go. Tilt it. If you're gonna tilt it the whole ways, you have to tilt it. If you're gonna close it the whole ways, you have to tilt. Now you don't have to do that if you go 1 notch at a time.
Yeah.
So go 1 notch at a time. Okay. Now work on that line.
Tilt it again?
Yeah.
The 1 notch?
Of course.
Okay.
Good. Keep going. Nothing's happening.
Nope.
Flatten it out. Tilt it, one more notch. Go ahead. Nothing happening? Flatten it out. Oh, something's happening. Okay, good. You see how if nothing was happening, move on? A lot of times you're still making, I don't see it, and you're wasting time. Nothing's happening, move on. Next notch. Tilt it. Can't see. They can't see. They see your elbow. There you go.
Sorry, guys.
Yes. Some have no notches.
Some doesn't have as much notches as that.
For the most part, they have about the same amount of notches, up to 4. Yeah, 4.
So I've seen a lot of threes.
Show me a 3. Show me a clipper with 3 notches. Let me see it. Go ahead. Okay, well you can show me later.
Yeah, the ones that we got from the school, that one has 3.
There's one on my desk. But it doesn't matter. Open, tilt, work your way down. Next notch, tilt, all the way down. Next notch, it doesn't matter. The reason why that doesn't matter is because I'm gonna find where I need to cut it in my tilting process. You keep cutting. So I'm gonna find where that spot is because every clipper blade is not designed the same. Some are fade blades, some are made for wet cutting, the length of them, they're gonna cut differently. So if I tell you 0, open your clipper and make your second guide, every time you do that, it's not gonna be the same and you're gonna get frustrated. And then you're like, why is this, man, I did it on the last guy and it looked like it cut too much off. I do it on this guy, it's not enough. Density is gonna be the issue for that. Or hair color. Somebody's blonde hair, you open this guard and put a guide, it looks like it's bald because his hair is really blonde. So that 1.5 size up is gonna make the big difference. Okay, is it all the way closed?
No.
Okay, one more notch. Is it all the way closed now?
Yeah.
Tilt it and then flatten it. I don't hear any cutting happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so then take it off all the way. And what are you gonna do? Open it up 100%. You're gonna do what next?
Tilt it.
You're gonna tilt it. I'm not doing anything. I'm not even watching what they're all watching what you're doing. I'm listening.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. I'm listening to the hair being cut. I'm not watching it. You guys are watching it.
Tiny bit.
Okay? Now what it looks like you're doing, I'm gonna show you what you're doing in slow motion. You're putting the clipper where the hair is. All right, let me do it like this in the camera. You're putting the clipper where the hair is, and you're actually going down. You think you're going up, but I'm looking at you, you're going,
I'm combing it down.
you're combing the hair down. I need you to cut the hair,
Okay. Okay.
okay? Right there.
Right here.
Yep. Now we cutting hair. Do you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening to what's happening. I'm not really watching, I'm listening. Slowly tilt it. Good. Does it look how you want it to look?
Not really.
Okay, next notch. Tilt it, work your way down.
All right, I'm combing again.
There you go. So to prevent yourself from, now it's looking better.
Yeah.
You see it starting to look better? To prevent yourself from doing what he was doing, where he's putting it right at the line and he's making movements, but he's like combing. He's going up and down, and going down isn't doing anything. Start below the line and then come up, okay? Start below the line and then work your way up. That exaggerated move that I was doing, you can do the same thing. So even in the tilt, and then slowly work your way down.
So you use lots of tilting on every cut you do?
Every single haircut I tilt. Now, guess what? You don't even know where you started, so start over.
Open?
All the way open, yep. Why I tell you that? Because you're gonna have distractions. He's gonna say something, he's gonna tell you about the sports game, you're gonna tell him he's lying, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You're distracted. You gotta get back, so reset. Work your way back down. Sound like a cut too much? No, you just weren't cutting enough the first time.
Okay.
Next notch. Tilt, work your way down. You keep working on that. I'm gonna grab my water real quick. I think he's all right. How y'all think he's doing? He's doing all right?
Tyreek, is the amount on the tilt
No, it's just a safeguard. So the question was, is every time I notch it and I tilt it, it's almost like you're going back to it being flat open. So you're just going back up to that size and you're going back down to find the sweet spot. Every blade is going to be made differently. And so a lot of you guys already are cutting hair and you're out buying clippers. You see the next new hot thing, you're like, I want that clipper. Students do it all the time. You don't need anything outside of your kit unless you want it. You don't need it. Everything you need is in your kit. But if you want something else, you get it. The problem is that all those blades are going to cut. What are you doing stopping for, man? You got to talk and chew bubble gum, bro. Keep cutting.
Just wondering, like,
Keep cutting.
how's it look?
I don't know how it looks. I'm not looking at it. I'm just listening.
Looks kind of cool.
I'm answering questions. He said, looks kind of cool.
Question right quick. Why didn't you, like, probably for teaching purposes, but why didn't you just, put it flat open and then just like,
Because that's what you've been watching. Here, let me stop for a second. It's coming together. What you guys have been watching is this. You go in, you see the line, and you go to the line, and you scoop it away. This is what you've been watching. The problem is then you take the fade too high, and you're like, hey, I need help. I took the fade too high. I'm trying to eliminate. That's the problem. You know to remove the bottom line, it eventually goes away. You know to get the top, it eventually goes away, but you're stuck in the middle. Because then I don't want to take it too high. That's why I'm showing you this method so that way you can be intentional of where you're cutting. Cutting the top, totally different ball game. We're just going to be focusing on transitioning that fade because most of you want to fade well. You don't want to be having dark spots. That's the key. So let's get through the transition. The transition is what we're focused on right now. I'm not worried about the bottom line. I'm not even worried about the top. We're worried about this transition spot on the inside. Go ahead, start all over. Good. And we're not done with you until this is completely gone. Okay?
So,
I just feel like he's kind of focusing more
this
on
cool?
that bottom.
He's focused on that bottom line. Yep.
so should I put the one on?
Oh, there you go. There we go.
Like, or is this? Oh, so
In
it's
order to
all-
remove a line,
Gotta go above.
got to cut above the line.
So open.
Start over. Yep. Reset.
Can I like move the chair?
No.
No.
They got to see what you're doing.
Okay. So
Your hand's in the way.
fully tilted.
There you go. That sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it floats.
Man, it's tough up there.
Fully tilted.
Yep. You can't smile, bro. You're not allowed to do that. Thank you. You know why he's not allowed to smile? All the muscles in his hair flex, and then he's struggling with that. So, moving forward, you're going to have conversation with your client. Important, right? You want to converse with your client. You want to have common conversation, things that they're into, show that you're interested in the things that they're interested in. Remember the last conversation you had with them, their daughter was getting married, or they won the championship, or his favorite team won the game, whatever. You're going to have that conversation. In areas that is going to be difficult to cut, no conversation. Setting your guide simple. Hey, how was it? Da, 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 da. Setting your second guide. Yeah, man, that's crazy. Da, 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 da. Blending into here, not a big deal. When I got to focus on this bottom line and get this out in the most difficult spot, stay still for a second.
Am I going fully one notch at a
No
time?
sabe inglés.
Fully or one?
No sabe inglés.
I don't know what that means.
Start open.
Start over.
Always reset.
Okay. Yeah, but like after that, like I went fully down.
Okay.
So after that,
You went down one notch?
no, I just flattened it.
Okay, you flattened it the whole ways. So once you flattened it, are you done flat with the flat?
Yeah, for that like degree of
One notch,
one notch.
and then start over again.
Okay.
That's why I said no sabe inglés.
All right, nothing.
If nothing's happening, what are you doing next?
Tilt down.
There you go.
A little bit.
Yep, nothing happening?
Something happened.
Okay, so cut until it looks the way you want, and then flatten it out all the way until it looks the way you want. Listen, it's going to be harder the first couple times you do this, especially if Addison, if you're used to going to the line and going up, this is the challenge. You didn't enroll to this school, you could have just watched on YouTube, right? I'm going to challenge you. Once you learn the simple guidelines, we're going to do it totally different. Trust me, you don't want me on the clinic floor helping you with a haircut because I will mess it up. My job is to challenge you. If you ask Chris and Idamar, they weren't allowed to let a person leave the chair without me approving it. There's no, I'm done, all right, thank you, I appreciate it, walk out the door. Hey, how's that look? Oh, it looks good. No, there was none of that. It was, give me one, it's still coming off? Good, well, keep working. We talking over here, right? So, this person be sitting in the chair, Tyreek, and I'm come over, I'm gonna look at it, and I'm gonna ask you, what did you do? How'd you get here? Da da da. And I'm gonna say, okay, it's not close enough right there. Take that out. And I'm gonna walk away. Not because I want you to drown. It's because I know you have the tools. I'm giving them to you right now. So we'll practice it. When I'm confident that you know the tools, I can walk away. I'm not gonna walk away. I didn't walk away right away. Once I saw he had the idea, then I went and got my drink. That's gonna happen on the clinic floor. You looking good? Let me see. Yep, he's doing. No, keep talking, keep cutting, bro.
Like I'm pulling his hair.
Keep cutting. He's cutting. Yeah, he look like he's doing good. Let me grab my drink again. You know, do you need something over here? Yeah, everybody good over here? How's that hair? Oh, let me take a look at that haircut. Then I'm gonna come back over here. I'm gonna take a look at it. So ask for it.
I'm not personally. I don't feel like it's my job. So stop what I'm doing and walk around.
You know what? You don't have to stop what you're doing. You have raise your hand and you have a mouth. Chris, Idamar, Steph, Tyreek, we're not too busy. Ever. Why are we here? To teach who? Right. If you don't, una boca que no habla nunca come. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. If you don't ask for it, you may not get it. And then you leave frustrated that you didn't like that haircut, you didn't ask for help, and you think, my teacher didn't help me. You're a student. I need you to come take a look at this. And guess what happens? Could you give me 1 second? I need you to come take a look at this haircut real quick. Yeah, my client got to go back to work. Okay, thank you. Why are you here? Why are you here? You're here to learn. Why are we here? To teach. Absolutely. No, there's a lot going on. There's 20 of you. There's other stuff. It's never an excuse. You have a mouth. You have a hand. Raise your hand. I need your help. You may say, I need you to stand here the whole entire time. Right? But that's not fair to 19 other people. So there's conversations, unnecessary conversation. There is quality conversation happening. It happens everywhere. It doesn't matter. But when you need something, you raise your hand and you ask for the help. It's why we're here. Don't ever think that we're too big. I'll be working on stuff and Dan will say, hey, Tyreek, I need you to get this done. If you see me and you stop me, I promise you that I'm going to put that to the side and I'm going to help you. The only time that won't happen is if you don't see me. If you don't see me downstairs and I'm stuck in one of these offices, it's because I can't get distracted and I need that. That's why you have other instructors. But they are always at your disposal. Always be okay with raising your hand and asking for help. Always. There's never a time that you can't ask for help. Right? If I wasn't doing paperwork, I'd be on the floor doing this all day long.
What are we thinking?
I don't know what we're thinking. I don't know what you're thinking.
Oh, I just want to get your advice.
It's looking good. You got to ask them.
How's it look, guys?
Look good, J-Dub.
Does his look like mine?
No.
I think so. It looks fantastic. You got the bottom line out.
Is that the hardest one?
That's the hardest one. And you know what you didn't do? You didn't take the fade up and dig into the in-between.
I thought I kind of did a little bit.
Where at?
Like, is that a little higher?
No, that's where that line is. You didn't even get that line. You missed that spot.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, you missed it. I didn't do that. You did that.
All right.
All right, you good?
Fully open.
Are you going to finish that or you want me to finish?
No.
Okay, good. We can keep talking. Any questions? David, yeah, you got a question. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Let me hear. Go ahead.
The line's blended in when you want to continue that line. Is
No. Great question. Guys, in the back, David has a question. He said, man, Tyreek, you faded this whole side. Now I got to do the line on the other side. Is it going to be hard for me to find the line?
The ball line?
The first line, his question is, this is faded out. I don't even know where the original line was. That means that the fade is good, right? Where am I going to create the line on this side? So I'm following the parietal ridge to the occipital bone. Doesn't change, okay? And how you know that the parietal ridge is where it is give me your, the comb. Say that again.
The comb.
The comb does what?
Straight. And then the parietal ridge. If it ain't hitting the comb.
If you place the comb behind a person's ear, where the head curves away from the comb is that person's parietal ridge. Some people have flatter heads and it's a little steeper. Some people have fatter heads and it's a little, that's where that ridge is going to be. Okay? So that rule of thumb doesn't change. Great question. You guys were having a private discussion. What's up? Oh, okay. I thought this was an open discussion. Okay. You went right back to the private discussion? He said, yeah, with confidence, like, man. Uh-oh, he's laughing. Did that make it harder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't laugh.
He made it harder by laughing. All those muscles just flexed on him, and now he's got, look at how that looks when he smiles. Look what happens when he's not smiling.
My mama told me not to stop smiling.
No, I'm with your mom. I like that. Smile all the time. But just not right now. Except for when you get a haircut, right? That's a good advice. Dude, you're doing great.
All right.
That's fantastic. That method that you're doing at the bottom doesn't change throughout the entire haircut. It doesn't change whether I got a 3 on, a 2 on, a 1.5, a 1, or the clipper blade. It doesn't matter. The next step is now you got to ball this up to that. Ah, you forgot about that part.
When you're taking the dark spots out,
Is that
it's in the corner of it.
there's still a line there?
Yeah, it is. So her question was, whenever there's a dark spot in the fade, am I then using the corners? Yes, that's when I'm not using the corners throughout the fade.
You keep it open.
I'm leaving it open first and then I'm making the adjustments as necessary. Nothing changes. I'm still tilting, I'm still angling. The idea of the tilting and dropping is always the same. For example, this spot right here is slightly dark. Now, it looks faded, but when I'm looking at it right here, it's a little bit dark. Do you see that? Okay.